Welcome to Mama Tusa, Conversations with a Midwife. I'm your host, Atusa Benji. A quick note before today's episode. This show talks about birth, life, death, and all the complexities in between. My goal is always to share stories that leave you feeling empowered, but please know that some topics may be challenging or deeply moving. Also, while I'm an experienced midwife, I'm not your midwife, and the information on this podcast is not intended to be medical advice. Please consult your healthcare provider when considering what is best for you as an individual. Now, without further ado, I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Mama Tusa podcast. My guest today is Marcella, who is a chef, a writer, and most recently a mother. Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
It's so good to have you. I was so excited to have you on because, well, so many reasons. First of all, today I calculated that I probably met you or started being friends with your mom when you were about 5.
5? I thought
I've
10.
known your mom for 26 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
26 years. So I was like, wait, kind of blew me away this morning. So you're all grown up. You have your own business. I love watching how you're growing and thriving. And I was so honored to be part of a little smidgen of your birth story, which was beautiful and amazing and definitely not plan A. And I really want to talk to you today a little bit about your story, your pregnancy, what propelled you towards midwifery care. So start from the beginning.
Yeah. Always wanted to be a mom. I worked with kids my entire 20s with kids. My half-sisters came into my life when I was 12. Yeah. So I had more of a parental relationship than growing up. And then I nannied full-time. 50 hours a week in homes, helping raise other people's kids.
I didn't know this about you. Okay.
You didn't?
No.
Yes. I went to culinary school out of high school. And then I was like, kitchens are crazy. I'm too anxious for this. I don't want anything to do with it. So I babysat, which turned into nannying, which turned into, can you do some assistant work? And then I was working 50 hours for a family, being a family assistant. I did everything, 7 a.m. to 5:30. 5 days a week. You didn't know that?
No, I only knew the culinary school part.
Yeah.
And I thought that you went to culinary school and then you did cooking.
No, I just had I can't work in a kitchen. So I just nannied. It was easy. Kids are easy for me. Came naturally. And then people wanted can you run an errand? Can you help with the calendar? And I did it full time for a few families.
And you're, by the way, one of the most efficient people I know ever. And you're my Virgo sister.
I was going to say it's the Virgo.
Virgos are kind of special in that way, but you are efficient. And the first thing I ever watched you cook was chicken soup.
On Instagram?
No, at your mom's house.
Oh, interesting.
In person at your mom's house. And your mom was like, Marcella's coming, she's going to make me chicken soup. And I just watched you make it and I was like, oh, this girl's got some skills.
Yeah, I'm organized. I can multitask. I have a plan. I stick to it. Yeah. And so with kids, I've got the bag packed. I've got the backup. We're out the door on time. We're never late. I am really great at that.
You're that person.
Yeah. So always wanted to have kids. I've been with my husband since our junior year of college, but we met in middle school and we both wanted kids. And then I started working and I had that what's my passion? What's my career? And I didn't want kids. I was approaching my 30s and I was like, I have to have a kid soon because I'm getting old, and they say. Yeah. And I wrote really anxious about it. I was like, I'm going to be geriatric. It's not going to happen. What if I miss my window? And then we tried and I got pregnant right away.
There you go.
It was pretty quick.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so very planned, very quick. How was your pregnancy?
Totally normal physically. I didn't throw up once in my first trimester. I was tired, but didn't throw up. Second trimester, I cooked. I felt great. I worked out. I went to Pilates, but I really struggled mentally. I was definitely depressed. And I wasn't quiet about it. I had told you when we met, I was open with my midwife. Yeah. I remember telling my mom, I'm in a funk. If I'm in a funk in 2 weeks, I need to follow up with my midwife and do something about it. And it would come and go. I hated the changes to my body. I hated feeling like I had a parasite inside of me, just kind of draining me. It just didn't feel like me. Yeah. My life was changing. My job as I had it changed. That was a fact.
Yes.
And none of my friends have kids. So I felt really lonely.
Isolation.
Yeah.
A little bit of isolation.
I love that you brought that to light, because I think so many times people get pregnant and society is like, oh, you're pregnant and you're glowing and you're going to be a mother and you look beautiful. And some people feel very grounded during their pregnancy. I actually had the opposite of you, where when I'm pregnant, everything feels perfect. I am in harmony with the universe. I love my body. I accept my body. Like everything's great until I give birth. And then I like fall off the mountain. Like I'm at the peak and then I fall off and have a really hard postpartum period. But a couple years ago, someone used that word too, parasite. They were like, I hated being pregnant. I hated every waking minute of it. I felt like something was taking from me. And it was like, just get out of my space. And I don't think we talk about it enough. So I love that you brought it to your mom and to your midwives, but I also love that you're telling the public about it, because you have a following and you can carry that message.
I told every person who said, oh, are you loving it? I said, absolutely not. All I wanted to wear was baggy clothes. I hated just
the bump.
I liked it when it was really bumpy and you're like, I'm definitely pregnant. But when you're in between, I just felt fat.
Yeah.
And I felt like I didn't look pregnant and it felt icky.
Kind of bloated.
Boobs were huge and they hurt. It was uncomfortable. Yeah, I did not love it. And I told everyone, I am never doing this again. And my husband, we wanted one kid. We wanted a girl. We got a girl. And I was like, I am absolutely never doing this again. I was really, really miserable. And I talked about it all the time. And I was lonely. The not having any close friends. Yeah.
Definitely. I can relate to that. None of my friends had kids either for a long time. I had my first one at 19.
Yep.
And we giggled because my best friend and I, she got married later than I did. When I was planning my first daughter's bat mitzvah, she was planning her wedding. So we were trading like, who's your caterer? Who's your, but it was like two completely different life phases.
Yeah.
But we were helping each other. So timing is, it looks different on different people, as I always say. Time and age look different on different people. So what was happening to the cooking and the baking at that time?
Before I got pregnant, my husband and I we call it a micro restaurant. We do dinners that are open to the public.
It's amazing.
14 seats. People buy tickets online. And I cook an 8-course meal in our backyard.
8 courses.
8 courses. My husband does service and drinks. And it's like a big dinner party. We were doing 3 a month.
I didn't know Marco was involved in this. There's so much I don't know. Okay.
Well, he works a normal job. He just helps me.
Yeah. And 3.
We were doing 3
a month is a lot.
Saturdays. Yeah, it was a lot. Like in our peak summer, because summer the weather's the best.
Yeah.
3 dinners. I would do 2 public and 1 private, like a birthday party, a baby shower.
You have public ones that people just buy tickets for and show up?
All of them. Yeah.
Just to meet people and have good food.
Yep.
In your beautiful garden.
In my backyard. Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I thought it was all private.
Nope. No, yeah, I put tickets on my website. I promote it through social media, and it's been word of mouth, friend to friend, and now there's people. I had one woman who came to my last dinner, which is so special. She messaged me. She said, is it weird if I come solo? Absolutely not. Feel free. It's only 14 people. It's really intimate. She comes, I'm serving salad, and someone else says, she traveled the furthest. And I go, oh, where'd you come from? St. Louis, Missouri. And I said, oh, you live here now? What? She goes, no, I've always wanted to come to your dinners. I wanted to go to the Getty, and I wanted to see the Pacific Ocean. So I planned a trip.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that amazing?
That is so powerful.
That's why I'm most proud of that. I could not believe it.
It's so interesting. I recently had an experience where we held like a woman's monthly, like a moon circle sort of thing. And we had never used Eventbrite. And we did it on Eventbrite. And we accidentally made it public, not knowing. I wasn't trying to make it public, but we didn't click the button, or we did click the button. I don't know what we did. And so pretty much everyone I knew came. And I knew all the faces. Hey, how are you? We sat in the circle. And then this lady shows up. And we're like, do you know her? Like, is she your friend? And then we went around in a circle. And she was like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. And we were like, tell us more about you. She's like, oh, I saw it on Eventbrite. And we were like, oh. She's like, well, is it okay that I'm here? And we're like, of course, welcome. And she needed that circle so badly at that moment. She just needed to be surrounded by women talking about stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like the perfect timing. But I love that when people show up in places with quote unquote random people, it's actually not random at all.
Oh, no. These dinners, we've had people come and don't know each other, grew up in the same town, like in Tennessee.
It's crazy.
Completely separate.
And do you show people the menu, or they show up and you get what you get and you don't get upset?
You get what you get and you don't get upset. If you have an allergy or serious dietary restriction, I'll work around it. But if you don't like blue cheese, sorry, there's blue cheese on that peach salad. You can pick around it. I don't care. We called it backyard because it's in our backyard. We did it for about 3 years, and that is my most proudest thing I've ever done.
Are you going to go back to it?
I think so. You know, our house is really small. I have a baby.
Yes, you do.
The bathroom is in her room, which I don't love. So we have to figure out if we do it somewhere. Oh, yeah. We have to figure it out. But yeah, no, I'm going to do dinners in some capacity. Probably not 3 a month. That was a lot. We were working hard, but 1 a quarter, special event. I have to cook for people. It brings me the most joy.
It's your thing.
Yeah.
It's your thing. Did you have any aversions?
Yes. First trimester, I was hungry, but I wanted bland comfort foods. Mac and cheese, chicken tenders. I hated vegetables, which I cook a lot of vegetables. I'm at the farmer's market every week.
Yeah.
Could not eat a vegetable.
And you always knew you wanted a midwife, or did that come to you from someone who carried a message or something you watched?
You know, I wanted to ask you, because you've known me forever.
Yeah.
We've talked about birth forever.
Forever.
When was the first time I showed an interest in birth? Do you remember?
You told me you're going to have a home birth.
When was that?
I want to say 15 years ago.
Yeah, because I was trying to think, when did it get in my mind?
Yeah, 10 to 15 years ago. And it was when I was a doula.
I met someone in college in 2011. Instagram had just come out, and we followed each other. Never saw her again, but followed her. She had a home birth and posted all the photos. Yeah. You know, the like placenta in the bowl, the laying with her dog in bed, like with the heating, like all of it. And I remember being like, this is so cool. And that I think is the first time where I was super interested in home birth. And then I've also played with the idea of becoming a doula.
Yes.
I've told you that many times.
Yes.
Not
too late, by the way.
I know. I love birth. I have listened to so many podcasts, so many birth stories while I cook. I listen. Always birth. I think it's fascinating. Yeah, I don't know why, but Marco said, my husband, he said the entire time I've known you, you were going to have a home birth.
Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah. And it's interesting because I always think that how our mothers speak about birth is so important because every time I've spoken to your mother about her birth with you or your birth, she's only said amazing stuff. She's like, my birth was amazing. Like, it was great. It was no nonsense. I got it done. It was easy. I was surrounded by people I loved. My friend was a midwife who worked at the hospital. It wasn't her shift, but she showed up for me. All of those things have probably been in your subconscious since you were a little girl. It makes such a difference when you're trying to plan your own birth that the stories that you've heard were not horror stories.
Yeah.
And so you started looking for a midwife.
The year before, when we moved back here, I have had really bad periods my whole life. Painful. Have to cancel my second day. Have to take a Vicodin. Advil doesn't touch it. Wow. And everyone in my family, it was like normal. They'd be like, oh, I have leftover. Just use this for your period. And eventually, Marco was like, I don't think this is normal.
Wow.
So Marco pushed me to go to the doctor. And I had an ovarian cyst. We got that removed. Fine, just growing some hair. That's what it was. It looked like you cleaned a shower drain.
Big fat Greek wedding. She's like, and it had teeth.
I asked, I said, will you take a picture? And he goes, we don't normally take pictures. And I go, I want to know what's in it.
Yeah.
Like, I love this stuff. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So yes, lots of hair. Cyst was gone.
Wow.
And then after that, it didn't solve the problem. It was just a cyst.
Oh.
So I went to an OB. I had a new primary. She referred me just in network. I go to USC. Saw an OB. It took me months to get the appointment.
Of course.
I got pregnant. So I was 6 weeks pregnant at this appointment, which was really for my periods.
Wow.
And I had an awful experience. I had the nurse ask me 3 times, why are you here if you're pregnant? Because it was an appointment for, looking into my periods. What are you here for? She snapped at me. And I'm not a crier. I almost started crying. I had the doctor laugh and go, all right, let me get the other paperwork. And then she goes, so we'll see you in 2 weeks for your 8 week, which is normally when you come in. And then at the 8 week, she goes, so would you like to schedule your induction for 38 weeks?
What?
And Marco and I looked at each other and we go, we're never coming back.
Yeah,
it was just,
done.
that's not my,
and we're
that's
done.
not how I operate. Yeah. So I knew that moment I want a midwife. I came home crying. I found a midwife. I reached out to my friend who's a doula on our side of town, found a few midwives. And then Jamie just called me back, Jamie Hatcher. And I liked her.
Shout out to Jamie Hatcher.
Yeah. And that was that.
She's great.
I knew from that appointment when they made me almost cry. She took the paperwork, brought it to the front desk and goes, well, surprise, she's actually pregnant. Get her scheduled for the prenatal appointment. And the front desk girls laughed, and I was like, I am never coming back here.
That's compassionate care for you right there.
I was like, I am never, yeah. We went to the 8-week because I wanted just the ultrasound.
Yeah.
We knew we weren't going to come back. And then when she asked to schedule the induction, I was like, you're kidding me. That's that's crazy.
That's an induction epidemic for
I'm
sure.
8 weeks pregnant. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm sorry that happened to you. Yuck.
Yeah.
So home visits. Tell me about your home visits.
Home visits are great. Working with a midwife is nice.
Yeah.
My midwife came to the house. What is it in the first time? Like once a month?
Once a month until 28 weeks. Mm-hmm.
My husband works from home, so he just came up. We sat there with my cats.
Nice.
And it was great. Got all the information. Felt super comfortable. And I loved him.
Were you ever scared?
No, but I'm not scared of birth. I was excited. I hated being pregnant, but I kept saying, I can't wait to give birth.
To give birth?
Yeah.
And was there pushback from family about
No.
home birth?
My mom was she just had questions. How does it go down? What happens if there is an emergency? What if you need something else? But no pushback. My family knows you can't really tell me what to do.
You do it Marcella's way. Yeah.
I'm doing what I'm doing.
Marcella's way, for sure. I actually sometimes think, I teach a lot, and I teach different groups and demographics, but I think I could have a niche in teaching the mothers of women who are having home birth. Just like a overview of what the day looks like, what the care looks like, what the emergencies look like, because I have taken numerous mothers. They have taken me to lunch or a coffee or a chat and been like, tell me about this crazy idea. And by the time we're done, they're like, oh,
It's not that bad.
I had no idea. And it's not only quote unquote non-healthcare lay people who have no idea. Sometimes even doctors and nurses have no idea about what community midwives do. No idea that we carry IVs. No idea that we have anti-hemorrhagic drugs. No idea that we can resuscitate babies or do blood draws or give shots, or no idea. And once they know, they're like, okay, this is good. This is good. So that's on my bucket list for 2026, is to have like a prepared mom of the mom class for community birth.
I think also, I am my mom's baby. She's just concerned. She just doesn't know. She just has questions.
Of course.
And when she learned it, she was okay.
And you chose not to have any family at the birth.
No one. I wanted me alone, my husband, my team. That's it. This was a very sacred moment for me and him, but me, the woman, also being born.
Yeah.
And I wanted no one there.
And tell me about your 36-week visit.
36 weeks, my whole team was there. My midwife, my doula, Nina, you, who were going to be an assist if you were available.
Yeah, because there's usually 2 to 3 providers at a birth. So you have a midwife and a midwife assistant, or 2 midwives. So I was honored to be asked to assist that day.
Yeah. Everyone came, normal visit. We chatted, we went over stuff, and we took my blood pressure, which is normal. We did that every visit.
Yep.
And that was the first time I saw Jamie's face. It was a little high. I think we moved me to a different chair, and we took we were like, everyone be quiet. Let's take it one more time. And it went down a little bit.
Yep.
And then everyone left. And there wasn't a big fuss about it. It was just a little high.
Yeah. It was like noted.
Yeah.
It was noted.
Yeah. And Jamie came back for 37 weeks. It was high again. And she didn't like that. What's that called?
Around there.
Gestational
hypertension.
Yeah.
And you had no other symptoms. So you weren't swollen. You didn't have protein in your urine. None of that.
No, my pregnancy, everything was normal. I felt fine. I think at 38 weeks, it was high again. At 37, it was high. She wanted me to track with a cuff at home because I had one. She told me to check it once a day, same time, no more. I checked it probably 13 times a day. I made a chart in my notes with AM, noon, PM, and Jamie didn't, at first she said, don't do that. She didn't want me to freak out, all these different numbers. And then she also loves data. So when I showed it to her, she goes, this is great for me to see.
Yeah.
So that was 37 weeks. I was tracking. 38 weeks, still high. We did labs, blood work, urine. it was normal.
Which midwives do too, by the way.
Yep, at home.
So just for context, we're now looking for signs and symptoms of preeclampsia. And preeclampsia is, just for the people who don't know, is more common in first-time pregnancies than in other pregnancies.
I didn't know that.
Unless your next pregnancy is from a different father. So if you have a baby with one man, and then the second or third time you have a baby with another man, you're more likely to get preeclampsia. And I've said this before on the podcast, but the reason is that if you are having sex with the same person and semen is entering your body, semen is a foreign cell. Your body takes note of a foreign cell entering your body. When you start having sex with someone else, the body is like, wait a second, these are different cells. And so when you make a baby with that next person, the chance of preeclampsia goes up because at the conception level, at the level of the placenta, something is different. Preeclampsia is a condition of pregnancy where the classic symptoms are swelling. And not just like your normal, like, oh, my ankles are a little swollen, or, oh, my rings don't fit, but like marked swelling, and also in the hands and also in the face. The kidneys are not functioning properly. There's a lot of stress on the body. So instead of protein staying inside of your cells, it begins to leak out into your urine. And so the protein in your urine goes up, and then your blood pressure goes up. So gestational hypertension can be that blood pressure that's not within normal. We're looking for 140, below 140 over 90. Once we start going up without the other symptoms, that's just gestational hypertension. But if we're going up higher than that now into the 150s and the 160s, and we're drawing labs and we're seeing liver function is not normal, then that's when we're like, okay, this person is starting to move towards preeclampsia. The only treatment for preeclampsia is to get the placenta out of the body. So the person has to be induced and give birth. Preeclampsia that is left untreated can lead to the mother having seizures, organ shutdown, and ultimately, God forbid, death. So it's not to be taken lightly, and it is one of the most common complications of pregnancy and childbirth in the United States. And many times it's preventable with what? Proper prenatal care. So the fact that your midwife came every week, was taking your blood pressure, was like, I'm watching you, and then drew labs. What did those labs say?
Labs were normal.
Okay.
I had no protein in my urine. What's the other one they checked?
Swelling.
I had known before, because I had listened to all these podcasts, that preeclampsia, you are not eligible for home birth. You have to transfer to a hospital.
Correct. So even hypertension, after a certain limit, you're not, even without signs and symptoms, because you can also start having really bad headache. You can also start having visual disturbances where you're like, I see stars and I have a headache. And ultimately, when the liver gets involved, you start having right upper quadrant pain too. So that whole picture is preeclampsia. So we don't wait for that in midwifery, and actually doctors very quickly take action to get the baby out. But you didn't have any other symptoms other than the blood pressure?
No, I knew that it would rule me out for a home birth. So I had convinced myself many times with a little bit of swelling, because I cook. I was on my feet. And I was like, oh no, this is it. And then I would elevate my feet, it'd be gone. So it wasn't extreme swelling. I think that's what you see with preeclampsia. Yeah. I had no other symptoms, no headache, no blurred vision, felt totally fine. My labs were normal, but we had to have the talk that if it, in labor, doesn't go down or goes up and stays up, or it's too high, we have to transfer.
Tell me about the talk.
The talk was the straightforward talk. I mean, I think when you get close with your midwife, you talk very casually, comfortably. There was a little bit of a tone of, this is serious. You know, you have to watch for baby, watch for you. And if your blood pressure goes up and can't come down, or it goes too high, we have to transfer.
Why did you choose Jamie as your midwife?
Because she called me back quickly. I'm kidding. But I love a prompt person too. Yes. Yeah. She called me back. I read her website. She had good energy on the phone. I was a little nervous and shaken up after that horrible appointment. And she said, do you want me to come to your house and we can meet? It was around Christmas. She goes, do you want me to meet, I think, tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And we just connected. We clicked really quickly, and I felt comfortable with her. I felt safe.
I love that, because you can really love your midwife on paper, in terms of what their accomplishments are, what their degrees are. But if you don't click on that comfort level, personality-wise, often it doesn't go very well.
She also shoots it straight.
Yes.
I remember I asked her a question, a tough one, like, I don't know what it was. If there was a limb deformity, what would you do? And she gave me a very direct answer. And I was like, oh, I like your honesty.
Your way.
Yeah.
Like your way.
Yeah.
I love that. So, and I remember that visit where your blood pressure was high, actually, because I was the one that charted it. I was charting while y'all were talking, and I was like, ooh, interesting. I was like, is it because there's more of us in the room and we're like talking and what's going on? So we did your visit, and then Jamie and I had a lunch date. We actually went to sushi, and I spoke to her about your blood pressure, and I said, is that? And she was like, I'm watching. I'm watching. Yeah. And also, like, that was the first time I was invited. So it wasn't like I was going to be like, well, that was kind of high. Did you see it was high? What are we doing? You know, it's not, you weren't my client. I was invited and I was the assistant. So I wasn't going to, like, you know, jar the session. So the week 39, what happened?
Well, 38 after that appointment, after we did blood work, I was doing everything possible at my fingertips. I was drinking beet juice. I cut out coffee, nettle, supplement. Like, there was just some supplements, nettle, milk thistle, like anything I could do.
Those are all good for the liver, by the way.
That's, I think, yes. Yeah. Anything. I was grasping at straws. I crashed hard mentally. I was pre-grieving the potential loss of my home birth. I wanted one kid. I always wanted to be at home. I wanted to be alone, private, like sacred moment. And I was mad. I was sad. I was bargaining with God. I'm like, please just let me have my home birth and I'll deal with it later. I don't know what I was asking for, but I'll deal with it. Give it to me later. I want this moment. And I saw Nina on Wednesday. My appointment with Jamie was Monday. I saw Nina, my doula, on Wednesday.
It's Nina Phelan, by the way, who's also been on the podcast.
And she walked in and she was like, whoa. The energy was bad. I was, like, you could feel it. You could see it in my body. And she said, you cannot be in this state moving forward. We have to get you out of here. I started journaling. I did a ceremony in the backyard. I wrote down everything I wanted to release and we lit it on fire. Marco did it with me. I was meditating. I was mantra. I trust my body. I trust my baby. I trust the universe.
Wow.
And I went really inward. I totally isolated. I was laying in bed just doing all of this stuff by myself to get out of the dark place I was in. And I did. I slept. I was really tired. 37 weeks I started having pelvic, what's it called? Pelvic dysfunction.
Pubic symphysis?
Pubic symphysis.
Dysfunction.
And I was in a lot of pain.
Ouch.
But I was trying to walk for my blood pressure.
Oof, which makes that worse.
And Nina was like, you need to rest. Your body's telling you to rest. And after I did the ceremony, release all of the anxiety, accept I have no control. I'm here. I slept all day Thursday. I took 2-hour naps. Wow. I slept at night. I slept Friday. I slept Saturday. And then Sunday was 39 weeks.
What do you think shifted?
I think I let go. I let go of, I have to have it this way because I always saw it this way. I always envisioned the home birth. I accepted that I'm not really in control. I can do everything right, but my body is going to do what my body's going to do. And my baby will come out no matter what. And it'll be great no matter what. And I was grateful. I had a lot of gratitude. I got pregnant easy. I wanted a daughter. I got a daughter. I didn't throw up once. I had an easy pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I knew at the end I would have a healthy baby and everything would be fine. But I had to get there. I had to go through a really dark, sad, mad thoughts. Loss. I was potentially losing
a dream.
Yeah.
You're absolutely.
And I only wanted to have one kid.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm only going to do this once and I'm not going to get what I want. It's a little stopping my feet too, but.
Yeah. No, I get that deeply. And it's interesting. Recently, I actually, you know how we say it's because we're Virgos, but we have a certain personality type where we plan and we make lists and we get stuff done and we're efficient, right? And typically our houses are very organized. Things are labeled, put away. We have a calendar. We stick to it. We don't mess around. When I have a client who I see that in, I start to have a talk. Sometime at the beginning of the 3rd trimester, we talk. And it's like, well, tell me about this dream to have a home birth. And sometimes we'll even do it at the interview or the first intake visit. Because when everything is super perfect, there is a level of control that is happening that can also superimpose itself on top of how this birth has to look. And so I smell it out. What is that? You spot it, you got it, right? I smell it out and we have a conversation. And often the person will like break down and be like, I hadn't thought about the possibility of this not happening.
Well, it's funny you say that because I packed the bag at 37 weeks. It was like the sweatpants I didn't want to wear, but I just needed to put something in the bag because I was not going to the hospital.
You're right, because it wasn't happening.
It wasn't happening.
Yeah.
We were giving birth at home.
Right. It was just to check it off in case.
And just
but
in case, for worst case
happen.
scenario,
Right.
I have a pair of pants to put on.
Right.
39 weeks, I had been having contractions. At the time, I called them cramps, but they were definitely contractions. It would be a 5-hour period. This is during 38 weeks, 5-hour period of on and off, on and off. Would happen in the night. I would wake up and be like, oh my gosh, it's happening. So at my 39-week appointment.
1 second. How was that? I'll tell you why I'm asking you this question, because I had a client who, during her last prenatal visit, told me she's going to have no problem with an unmedicated birth because she has difficult periods. And I was like, what does one have to do with the other? Like a difficult period. It's not birth. In my head, in my young doula judgy way. And she was like, no, you don't understand. Like, I go to the ER every single month.
Vicodin.
And I had just never heard of this before. I was like, this is wild. I kid you not, she had an unmedicated, beautiful vaginal birth at 6 centimeters, which is active labor, having contractions every 4 minutes. She turned to me and she goes, this is what my periods feel like. So having those 5-hour spurts of contractions, how was your coping in comparison to with the experience that you had with the periods that you had?
I definitely have a high pain tolerance. I was also in denial. This is a little cramp. This is a little cramp. This is a little cramp. I had a lot of Braxton Hicks. And I had Braxton Hicks in the kitchen. I was mopping the floor. Of course you were. One night, and I leaned over and grabbed the table. And I was like, ah. And Marco goes, it's not a Braxton Hicks if it hurts. And I'm like, I don't know if that's right. I love Marco. I was like, it's a Braxton Hicks. I'm going to finish cleaning the floor. So it's fine. I have high pain tolerance, a little bit of denial. It's a cramp. Everyone tells you'll know a contraction when it comes. Yeah. And I didn't know. I'm like, it's a cramp. I'm fine. But I had a few bouts of that. So at my 39-week appointment, Jamie doesn't normally offer a cervical check, but she goes, you're having a lot. Would you like me to check? And I said, absolutely. I want to know what's going on. Yeah. I love the information.
You like data.
Like my chart of, yes, I want to know.
Of course.
And I was 2.5 centimeters dilated.
Nice.
And everyone went home. We said, we're probably having a baby this week. She went home. And then I had a little bloody show that night. Now that I've had real bloody show, it was a tiny speckle, but it was
from
still
the check too. Sometimes from the check you get a little bit of blood afterwards too.
It was just a little bit of something's coming. Yeah. And I had cramping that night. I think Marco slept on the couch and I was cramping and cramping. He fell asleep watching TV and I didn't want to wake him. And after a few hours, I woke him. And of course, when he came to bed, they stopped.
Of course.
And we were like, oh, okay. Yeah. Tuesday came, normal day. Nothing happened. I met with Nina in the park. I told her how I felt so much better. I was so grateful. I was like, I'm so excited. We're going to do this.
I love that Nina does those active prenatal visits. It's so good.
We walk. Yeah. We stretch.
Yeah.
I could not stop crying at Tusa. Oh. I was weeping. I'm not a crier. You know me. I was weeping at anything. I saw a video of a mom and her baby on TikTok. That's going to be me and my baby. I could not stop. The softening, I think they call it.
Yeah.
We met in the park on Tuesday. We went for a walk. I felt great. I was excited to give birth. I got a massage that night. And I remember thinking in the massage, oh, this is the last thing I'll do for myself. Went home Tuesday. Nothing. I woke up mad. I'm like, you're kidding? I have cramps every night and now nothing. And Wednesday morning, I was 39-3. We walked the dog at 6 a.m. I walked in the house and I had an intense cramp. Contraction. Went to the bathroom. Bloody show. Not a little speckle. Like a wipe of blood. Yeah. And I was in denial.
And just for the listeners, let's talk about bloody show. So the cervix, which is usually long and hard and closed, which is at the mouth of the uterus, has a whole glob of mucus on the inside, which is yet another protective mechanism for germs to get to the baby. Baby is very well protected in utero, and mucus plug is one of them. But when the cervix begins to open, then the mucus comes out. So when the person wipes themselves, they might get this like glob of like, oh, this is interesting. It's like very
it was a clear fluid,
very
in blood.
gooey, stringy sort of situation. And it can be tinged with blood. So it's not like you're bleeding like a period, but it's like, oh, there is some blood here. That is from the capillaries from the cervix. So the cervix opens, the capillaries are bleeders, so they will bleed, and then they'll mix with the mucus plug, and that is bloody show.
Bright blood too.
Bright blood.
Yeah.
It's fresh because the cervix is opening. So for some people, that can happen 2 weeks before they have the baby. So for 2 weeks, their body is sort of doing this ripening, opening, getting ready. And for some people, it's the day of. For me, it was always the day of. I always knew it was happening that day because that day I would have like I always call it, it's like blowing your nose after a nosebleed.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So what'd you do?
Yep. Well, I had a list of things I needed to get done.
Okay, of course you did.
We had a blow-up pool in the backyard that I
Yes.
had been lounging in. I wanted that gone. I could
Okay.
see it from my bedroom window. I deflated it. I sanitized it. I folded it up.
As you should.
I wanted to pick flowers. I think you might remember that for my baby. I picked
Yes,
flowers.
I remember that vision.
I said hi to my chickens. I fed my fish. I cleaned the kitchen. I wanted it clean. I did all of these tasks. And while I was doing them, Marco said, I think you should get in bed. And I said, absolutely not. I got to get this done. Took
You
me
were
like,
nesting.
yeah.
That's
hard.
early labor. That is early labor nesting.
The only thing I didn't get to was I wanted to oil my cutting boards. And I was mad about that later on.
Underachieving.
I got...
Did you oil the cast iron at least?
No. The cast iron was
You
put
know
away.
what?
I hadn't been doing
We're going to take your Virgo away. Inadequate.
So I was doing things, sweating. I was in like underwear, nothing fit, sweating, doing tasks. I was on my hands and knees. And Marco was like, you need to get in bed now.
And it was hot. It was summer.
Yes, August.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took a bath. I'm so glad I took a bath. It was my last moment to myself.
Yeah.
And I got in bed and I took a nap. And it was noon 1. I hadn't updated anyone, by the way, because I thought nothing was happening. In my book, something big will happen. Even these are signs that something's happening.
Yeah.
And around lunchtime, Marco said, you should text your team. They want to know what's happening. They also know it's coming. So I texted them and Nina said, get back in bed. Do nothing. Marco had offered to come watch TV with me. He knew something was happening. His energy changed. I was in denial.
Well, dads get an intuition too.
He knew. He kept going, do you want me to take work off? I didn't want him to take work off until the baby actually, came. Yeah. So I said, go to work. Around 1, I said, okay, you can come watch TV with me. 2, he came up. And then I needed snacks for the birth. So I made him take me to the grocery store. He took a picture of me outside the grocery store, and I'm like big and it was like my last photo. Now we know, standing outside the store. We came home, we watched TV, and I said, I feel like I need to get up. I've been here for a while. I took the exercise ball, I did a deep stretch and felt a pop, and my underwear filled with fluid. So I ran off of the rug and into the shower. Very smart move, actually. Into the shower and pulled my pants off, and it did not stop. It was, my water broke and was trickling.
Dramatic, like Hollywood style water.
Not a gush, but once it started and more was coming. So I got to the shower before it was like coming down my pants. And then we were really excited. We were like little kids. We were jumping around that we were going to have a baby. I told my midwife. She asked what color, how did I feel, and said, get back on the couch. So I put a diaper on because it doesn't stop.
Right.
And maybe 30 minutes after we were relaxing, I was like, I want to go to the bathroom. I want to see what's happening in the diaper. And I went to the bathroom and it was green. And I knew immediately it was meconium. I knew we were going to the hospital. And I had a really interesting shift that the selfishness of I'm going to lose my home birth wasn't there. My mom instinct kicked in and I said, we're going to go to the hospital to check on my daughter. Like she needs something.
Wow.
It was a message. And that felt good. I felt kind of grounded and it is what it is.
That's why we say trust birth.
Yeah.
The baby and the body will often show us what's going on. So meconium is baby poop for my listeners. So babies have poop in their rectum. And the older that they are, the more they're going to have. So it's not uncommon to see in labor a person who's 41 weeks and 3 days give birth and have meconium, or we might see a little bit of meconium when the water breaks. But you weren't 40 weeks, and you were having wonky blood pressures, and you weren't even really in labor, and we're seeing meconium. So now you've got to wonder, what's going on with this whole clinical scenario? Because I had a midwife one time who would say, 3 pink flags is a red flag. And so you now had 3 pink flags. So you shifted into mama bear mode and you were like, let's go.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Was that planned from before?
We had a plan. I had my emergency hospital, which was in Glendale. It's just the closest one.
Right.
To
Which
emergency.
the ambulance would go to if you needed.
Huntington in Pasadena was my preference if we had to leave. Our plan shifted from I'll see you tonight to I'm coming over now. Jamie came over, confirmed it was meconium, took my blood pressure. It was 160 over 100.
Oof.
So double whammy.
No, thank you.
Yeah, we were already going to the hospital.
Yes.
Now we're going.
Now we're really going to the hospital.
And I said, do I have time to get some stuff? Because my bag was not what I wanted.
Yeah.
It was 15 minutes. Get what you want. She also had proposed.
And she listened to the baby.
Yes, she listened to the baby.
Of course.
Baby was okay. She had proposed when the blood pressure stuff was happening about going to Valley Presbyterian because they have a midwife team that could help deliver the baby.
Yes. Who is very friendly with transfers.
Yes. Jamie asked me in that moment, I know you want to go to Huntington. Would you like to go here? I couldn't decide. There was too many things going on. So while I packed my bag, I was going to think about it. And I actually just looked at Marco and said, help me make this decision. And he said, you will be happier there with your team. And so we went there.
Yay, Marco.
Yeah. Marco's the best.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
So we went to Valley Presbyterian, checked in. I was kind of in a daze. When you go from excited, happy to, oh no, something's wrong, to I got to get out of the house. I didn't want anyone at my birth. No one knew I was in labor. Yeah. I called my mom the morning knowing that something was happening and acted like it wasn't to kind of buy her off for another 24 hours.
Right, get more time.
Now I have pets at home. I need someone to come to my house. My mom freaked out, as moms do. She was worried.
Yeah.
Asked to come. I said, absolutely not. You stay at home and pick up my dog, please.
Yeah.
And we checked in kind of in a daze. I was so grateful to have my midwife with me because the question of who are you? What are you here for? I was in a new environment. I was just not present. Jamie helped me check in, which was really nice. And we got into a room really quickly and I met my midwife there.
I'm smiling so big right now because this is like the ultimate in safe, collaborative, midwife to midwife care, which is hard to find. And we'll talk about what's happening at Valley Press, which is pretty devastating. And hopefully that won't happen. But the fact that you could go somewhere, your midwife goes with you, continuity of care, has your records, speaks the lingo, is your advocate, and is the bridge of the handoff. Because at that point, Jamie didn't have privileges at Valley Press. Even though she is a CNM, she works in the community setting. So she passed you off, but was still there to be whatever needed to be done. And you had Nina, your doula. So really the team was like perfection. And the handoff is perfection.
And I was comfortable.
And they were friendly.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, here we go, community birth, train wreck. What's going on? What do they want from us? Why are they here? Why do they do home births? What crystal did they bring this time? Right? It was just, this is what's happening and we need help now.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need help.
I met the midwife there, Willie Larson. Yeah. She was a beam of sunshine. Aww. She was excited. I'm so happy you're here. Marco wanted to catch the baby. He goes, can I still catch the baby? She goes, absolutely. Like everyone, they were just happy I was there. Wow. And they were talking midwife lingo. They got along. They had known each other. Yeah. It was great. I was really, really grateful to have gone there and to have that experience.
And were you having contractions?
Yeah. Okay. I was in a car. They were still manageable. I was like, okay, I'm okay. Okay, I'm okay. Okay, I'm okay. Present, talking. Intensified, though, from home to hospital. Yeah. Intensified. I think part of the reason I didn't want to go to the hospital is because I'm very aware of people's energy and I kind of turn on in a way. I'm more like trying to be grateful, thank you, what's your name, instead of in my own body, having my own moment. So maybe it calmed down a little bit as we checked in because there was so much going on. We got settled. They told me the plan, which was magnesium to prevent seizures, blood pressure medication, and then because there was meconium and magnesium slows down your contractions, Pitocin.
Right.
Which I had been progressing. And I asked, do I have to have the Pitocin? And they said yes. It was their protocol.
Right.
And then we started with stuff. They did a cervical check. I was 4 centimeters.
Yes.
And they sat me up. You know, I have nothing underneath because she had done a cervical check. And they pushed the bed up. And as it raised, I got a wave of nausea. Mm. And Nina looked at me. She goes, are you okay? And I go, I think I'm going to throw up. And they handed me a bag. And I started violently shaking. Mm. And I was naked from the waist down, shaking, vomiting. But my belly was so big I couldn't lean over. So it was just dripping. And every time I threw up, amniotic fluid
gushed out of you. Yeah.
And I looked around this room of strangers. And it was the most humbling thing. And no one cared. Yeah. No one in that room cared. They just handed me a napkin and moved on like it was normal. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, we're here. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
But
you
it
were
really
probably
was.
shifting into active labor too. And also, the mag makes you feel like crap.
They started magnesium. It made me very hot.
Yeah.
So that's normal.
Yeah.
Hot and stuffy. I was congested, which came into play later when I tried to do any of the breathing exercises I worked on. I couldn't breathe. It was really, really frustrating.
Yeah. But you were going into active labor though with that vomiting.
Well, something that the OB said, because the OB did come in. OB was
backup.
Yeah. She was watching over like my symptoms or She says, we're going to induce you with the Pitocin. And Jamie actually did not like that. She goes, she is in labor. She didn't say it to her, but when she left, I was progressing. Yeah. Things were happening.
Yeah.
Magnesium, blood pressure medication. Took 3 rounds to get it down. Apparently there's only 4 they can give. And that 3rd round, I had an amazing nurse, Rosie. She squatted next to the bed. She looked at me and she said, we're going to turn the lights off. You got to relax. Because if we cannot get your blood pressure down, we're out of options here.
Right.
And I did have a thought, they're going to want to get the baby out.
Yeah.
And then I thought...
There's only 2 ways.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I had a thought, I'll be fine. If that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
It's fine. I did...
Yay, Rosie.
Yeah, Rosie.
Rosie
was really amazing. She explained everything. She let me do what I wanted, like to be comfortable. She was a great nurse.
Shout out to Rosie.
And I put headphones on, 3rd round blood pressure medication, finally went down.
Oh, thank God.
Then they started a little bit of Pitocin. It was midnight. I was contracting. I was having to breathe through them. Before the Pitocin, I was contracting, having to breathe. And I was tired. And I said, I think I'm going to go to bed. Marco laid on the chair. Nina went to her car because there was nowhere for her to sit. And Jamie had to go home. Within 5 minutes of everyone leaving, I started violently shaking. And I said, get me a bag. I was vomiting off to the left because I had a peanut ball between my legs, shaking, throwing up.
Yeah.
And from that moment...
That's transition right there.
It went from manageable to what is going on in a second. And it happened when everyone left. Yeah. And I think I was finally alone.
In your body.
And my body knew.
Yeah. In your body.
And it was miserable. Yeah. Because I couldn't get up. They wanted me sitting. I was allowed to go to the bathroom, but I had to sit because the magnesium makes your muscles weak.
Yes.
And I was just laying on my side trying to bear it, trying to breathe, trying to do my exercises, and it was awful. When I checked in and they said you have to have magnesium and Pitocin, my team started prepping me for this can be long, this can be painful, you might want an epidural.
Yeah.
And Nina had not come back up yet. I hadn't told her what was going on. I was keeping to myself because I could do it.
Yeah.
And after about an hour, I was like, you have to get me an epidural. If this is going to be 24 hours, like people say, there is no way I can do this.
Yeah. So just for the listeners, transition is typically 7 to 10 centimeters of dilation. And it is transition between the dilation phase of labor to the pushing phase of labor. That's why it's called transitions. Symptoms are vomiting, shaking, I can't do this anymore, which you clearly had because you were starting to think about an epidural. I'm hot, I'm cold, touch me, don't touch me, come close, don't come close. It is intense and is one of the most primal things you will ever feel in unmedicated labor. Yeah. It is intense. And thank God, when you look at the typical graph of labor, transition doesn't take as long as the other phases, because if it did, I don't think anyone would ever have a baby.
Yeah.
But it can last from 15 minutes to a few hours, but it's not like you can be in transition for 14 hours. It is not tolerable. So how long did it take?
I don't know. From everyone left around midnight. It happened very quickly. Nina was back up around 1. I made it about an hour. I want an epidural. Bring Nina back up. This is insane. She came up. The anesthesiologist, they needed to give me a full bag of fluids, but they couldn't give the fluids too fast because it can make your blood pressure go up. So it was going to be 45 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if we're going to make it 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So they started the fluids, and I sat on the edge of the bed, leaning on Marco, forehead on his chest. And we just labored that way. It would come, we would sway, Nina would rub my shoulders, we would breathe, and then I had to pee. I had an intense sensation that I have to pee. And so cute. I remember Nina saying, "You're wearing a diaper, you can just pee." And I thought, absolutely not. I am going to keep on to the single shred of dignity I have, and I am going to the bathroom. Right. Are you kidding me?
Right. Like, I just vomited and squirted amniotic fluid out of my vagina.
I'm not peeing in a diaper.
Right.
So I got up with the IV, and I went to the bathroom. And between getting up and going into the bathroom, I went into a different portal. The experience was like, if you have ever done drugs, there is a point in the night where you start to come down and you come back into your body. And I walked into the bathroom, and it was pink tile, floor to ceiling, fluorescent lights. And Nina closed the door behind me, so it was quiet and I could breathe. And I was here in my body, feeling what was happening. Wow. I was alone. I looked in the mirror. I was so disheveled. What is going on? My hair was messy. I was puffy. And then a contraction came, and I was standing. So I could hold onto the sink for the first time, and it was manageable. And I was swaying.
Labor's not designed to be in a bed.
It was not. And then that was the first one where I said, okay. And then I sat down. I went to the bathroom, and another one came. And Nina kept the door closed for me. She just watched me from the crack. And I was breathing. I was swaying. I was rocking back and forth. I had my eyes closed.
You're in your element.
And it was great. And then I looked in the mirror, and I made eye contact with myself. And standing behind me was every woman that has given birth. And I said, I'm a strong, powerful woman, and I'm about to birth my baby. And it was the coolest experience of my life. Goosebumps. I could cry. I loved it.
You're making me cry.
And then I labored on the toilet. And it was the most comfortable. If that was what the whole thing was like, I could have done that for 24 hours. Like, that moment was great.
You're the third person this week who told me they closed the door and labored on their own in the bathroom.
I wanted to be alone from the beginning. I knew that about myself.
Yeah.
I felt the most comfortable.
That's your way.
Yeah.
That's your way.
It was like a crazy psychedelic experience. You know, it was out of body and in body, and one would leave and I would take a breath and go, whoa. You know, we had learned in our class, you'll feel your baby moving through you. Yeah. And I felt her moving through me. Wow. And I rocked back and forth. I peed into a pan. And then all of a sudden I had to poop. Yeah, and I was convinced.
Yeah, that's like music to my ears. I have to poop. It's like, as a midwife, it's like, it's just, there's such good words, I have to poop. Or I think I have to poop. Or there's something coming out of my butt. Makes us so happy. It's like happy words.
Well, I was convinced I'm pooping.
Yeah.
And I said, because there's a pan, you know, they're monitoring how much I was peeing.
Yeah.
Do you want to move this? Because I'm going to poop.
Yeah.
And then Nurse Rosie whipped on her gloves and she said, is it poop or is it baby? And Nina, she's very calm.
Yeah.
She snapped at her a little bit and goes, she's a first-time mom, baby's not coming out of the toilet, just move the pan, or something like that. And I picked up on the energy. I was like, what is going on? They moved the pan. I think I did like 2 contractions.
Yeah. No
poop came. Another one came, and then I said, I think I have to push. And because the snapping, I was like, Nina, I have to push.
Yeah.
And she smiled and goes, 2 more contractions, stay there.
Nice.
And then told the room, I think you should prep. Yeah. So I stayed there. They were getting ready. I could see the lights were on. People were moving.
Love.
I pooped a little bit. It was fine at the very end. And then we moved to the bed because they wanted me in the bed for labor.
Deliver, yeah.
I don't remember getting to the bed. Not very far, but I don't remember getting to the bed. And I had another cervical check. I don't know if I asked for it because I wanted to know. Everyone told me this is going to take forever, you know, 24 hours. I think I was not as confident because I had been hearing that.
Right.
I'm feeling one thing.
Right. So it's in the back of your head. Yeah.
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 But no, they checked me and she was coming
There.
down. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the midwife had been asleep. And Rosie, the great nurse, goes, would you like me to wake her up? I'm like, yes, I would like you to wake her up. And she left and actually said, if you feel like you have to push, go ahead. Which I was surprised.
Nice.
Because I would think they'd tell me to wait.
Yeah. Or hold your baby inside of you.
Exactly. That's
which
what I was
happens to
expecting.
some of us. Yep.
I was shocked when she said that. I was like, okay, great.
Thank God.
And then the lights were on. NICU was there because of the meconium.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was 10 people in there.
People in there.
But I didn't realize what was going on at the time because my eyes were closed. I was breathing. I was still in that
Zone.
Yes, in a different world. I was in my own world and things were
Labor
happening
portal.
outside.
Unmedicated, no epidural.
I never had the epidural.
Nice.
We wouldn't have made it. I was right.
No.
I'm like, this is going to be way too long.
It doesn't seem right that this would take so long.
In the bathroom felt like 2 hours. It was like 20 minutes.
Wow.
It feels like I was literally in a different realm.
You were.
For hours. Yes, but it feels so long.
It's crazy. There's no, the clock doesn't work in labor land.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. So how long did you push for?
20 minutes.
Wow. First time mom.
Midwife came in. She goes, would you like to get in another position? And I was tired. I said, no, I'm happy right here. Normal on my back, legs. Not in stirrups. We were just holding them.
Semi-reclining.
Yeah. One push. Everyone was like, you're doing great, but push like you're pooping. And I didn't want to poop. You know, it's a mind
Yeah,
shift.
for sure.
Yeah. Second one, I really bared down. And everyone in the room, you could hear them. My eyes were closed. Were like, you're doing it. That's it.
Yeah, that's the push.
Third one, her head was coming.
Nice.
They said, do you want to touch it? I reached down. I was expecting crowning.
Yeah.
It was a little sliver, Tusa.
Okay.
And I had the thought,
was
I'm like,
head
there's
visible.
so much more
It's
to
going to
go.
take, it's going to be a few hours. Yeah.
Her heart rate dipped a little bit. They said, just breathe through this contraction.
Yeah, you can.
Fifth contraction, popped her head out.
Wow.
And that hurt. Yeah. That, I think, ring of fire.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really, it felt like a flash because she came out so quickly.
Fast.
Yeah. And
Did
that
you have
was
some tearing?
I had a small first degree tear, internal. That's the only time I kind of screamed because it hurt.
Yeah.
And her head was out. I asked, can I take a break? And they said, nope, she's coming.
Push her out.
And I remember thinking, I am done. And I just bared down and poof, she popped out. And Marco caught her.
catch?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He caught her. Short cord, so she only came to my belly.
Yeah.
And then she was crying right away. A little raspy. Wow. So they wanted to take her. Mm-hmm. And I was so grateful in that moment. I was so grateful for my midwife who helped me through the process. And I have never been more grateful to have a doula that I trusted.
Right.
I got 2.5 minutes. Of course, I wanted as long as I could go.
Yeah.
2.5 minutes, the midwife that delivered her said, we really should take her. And I was not here.
Right.
You know, I was still coming into my body. And I remember turning to Nina and Nina goes, let them take her. And I could say, okay, without having to think.
Right.
And then I could come here.
Right.
She was
the
cared
trust
for.
that you had in her. Yeah.
I was really grateful and will forever be grateful to have that support. And then she was fine. She came back to me. It was
no
very
issues
quick. Very
with
quickly.
meconium or anything like that. No. She just had a little transition. Well, she came out so fast.
Yeah, they cleared her out. She came
out
right back.
so fast.
Yeah.
I love that story.
And then we laid there. And then they leave you alone.
Yeah.
Once it's done, everyone leaves.
You have your bonding time.
They shove an ice pack in your crotch and they leave you alone.
Yeah, totally. Did you have stitches?
Oh, yeah. I hemorrhaged, technically.
Okay.
Yeah, a little one. They brought in the cart.
Uh-huh.
Well, they have to go up and manually squeeze your uterus. I knew that was coming because I had listened to a birth story the week before. Yeah. That was not the most comfortable.
No, it sucks.
But it was fine. She pressed to get the placenta out. Mm-hmm. Squeeze, and they didn't have to do anything else.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't like...
Not too bad.
Everything and coding and stuff.
There was definitely the energy shift. You know, they were a little more
moving
frantic,
quicker.
But that was fine. Stitches. And then we just laid there.
With your ice pack and your baby.
With my ice pack. It's
baby
kind of
amazing
how aggressively they just...
Shove it in there.
Shove it in you.
Yep. And it's like an extra large pad that you break and it turns into an ice pack. And it goes like from your belly button to your sacrum. Like it's intense.
And then it was done. Nothing hurt. Everything was done.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I love that so much.
And it happened really fast.
Story so much. Well, a couple of things going on. One is very often when you're moving towards preeclampsia, labor will be very fast because the baby is very, very smart and is like, I got to get out of here. So the body knows that the organs are in danger of shutting down and the mom is in danger. So it actually gets the baby out. So often preeclampsia babies, especially when you go into labor on your own. It's different when it's induction from the jump, but that's not what you were. You were just augmented. You were already in labor. So once you had that little whiff of Pitocin, your baby was like, and I'm out.
She came
This
over.
body's no longer serving me.
Our nurse.
Yeah.
It happened. I progressed quickly.
Yeah.
With a tiny bit. I remember her coming over going, you don't need this. She turned it down.
Yeah.
And Jamie had reviewed the paperwork. She had very little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a whiff. And then the hemorrhage. Because you had such a fast birth.
Is that why?
That's why.
Yeah.
So it could be one of the reasons.
Yeah.
It's one of the risk factors for hemorrhage is a very quick birth, because that uterus is working so hard and so efficiently, and then pushes out a baby in 5 pushes, and then finishes and is like, and I'm going to sleep now. I don't want to contract anymore. I contracted very well for you 4, 5, 6 hours and I'm peacing out, right? And then that's when the hemorrhage happens. So they massage the uterus to get it like active again, to continue to clamp down on that placental site so you don't bleed.
Yeah.
So that's a risk factor. Why the baby was raspy? Probably quick birth. Quick birth, induction, meconium, like what was going on. And she had meconium from the beginning of labor. So something was going on with her where she knew that this isn't the best apartment for me anymore. I need to like come out now. I need to, she sort of moved out herself. She didn't need to be evicted. What a story.
I was sad it was over. It happened too fast. I would, from the beginning, I was excited to give birth. I've always been excited to give birth. 12 hours from water breaking to her being out.
Wow.
It happened too fast.
And you're ready to do it again.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to give birth
the woman who I'm
again.
only having one.
Oh, I swore to every person I talked to, I am never doing this again. I cannot wait to give birth again. That portal... That was the craziest high of my life. No drug could ever compare. I need it.
Wow.
I want to do it again.
Do it again.
Hopefully at home.
Yeah.
I'd love to
have
that moment that I had while I was alone at peace.
Yeah.
If not, we'll go to the hospital. And it's fine.
Yeah. And you may not have preeclampsia the second time.
Yeah.
So there is a risk factor because you had it the first time. But again, it is more likely you have it with your first.
So interesting.
So yeah, it's just interesting. It's a wild thing. How was your postpartum recovery?
Postpartum was fine. It really was not that bad.
When did that sadness go away? And did it come back?
5 days postpartum. We were home. Things were going great. I was happy with Marco. Our partnership was wonderful. We're vibing with our baby.
Breastfeeding's going well.
Breastfeeding was great from the beginning. Had no problems. 5 days postpartum, I looked in the mirror. I was getting ready. And I was like, I'm back. I walked out and looked at Marco and I go, I feel great. And I felt like a switch had been flipped. I was back. It was me, and I felt good. And it never came back. I have felt pretty good the entire time.
The entire time.
Normal, like I'm a little sad. I was grieved kind of the loss of my home birth later on, a few weeks later, but then that went away. I have felt pretty good.
And then talk to me about Jamie continuing your care. Did you ever go back to the hospital or to an obstetrician during the postpartum period?
Never went back to the hospital.
Right.
Never went back to the doctor.
Have to happen, right?
I actually checked myself out of the hospital because they do 24 hours of magnesium and then they want to monitor you for 24 hours. Yeah. I was really struggling in the hospital. I wasn't sleeping. I was uncomfortable. The midwife on staff then had switched, knew Jamie. They had talked. She goes, her labs are fine. And I just checked myself out. Jamie said, I'll come monitor you from home. She came over next day. We came home, went to bed. She was there in the morning.
Great. And the typical schedule is a couple times the first week, week 3, week 6, and all of that was done by your midwife.
She was there.
What did your 6-week visit look like?
Hugs and tears. I was sad the whole experience was over. I was so miserable the whole time. And then I was like, I'm not going to see you anymore. It's done. I'm just a mother now. And it was fine. I mean, she checked me. I think is that the one where they check how things are looking?
Yeah, how things are looking, how your stitches. Sometimes talk about birth control.
I kind of pulled my stitches out, knowing me. Well, they were like loose. I was touching them, and I just pulled it out in the shower. Of course, it came out on its own. I just wiggled it out.
Probably ready. Okay.
She checked. It was fine. Pressed on it to make sure I didn't have any pain where the stitches were, and I didn't even feel it.
Great.
And we talked about birth control, and that was that.
All good.
Yeah.
And when are you planning on seeing her again?
I've seen her a lot. We've become close. She loves my baby too.
But seeing her again, I mean.
Oh, well, my midwife says to wait 1 year before you get pregnant.
For sure.
18 months if you can.
Yes.
I will probably wait 1 year on the dot.
Okay.
I liked the timeline when we had our baby. Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm so excited for you. What an amazing story. What an amazing story. What would you tell people who, first about midwifery care, and second about the surrender of your plan is a plan, but it's not necessarily your baby's journey?
I think every woman needs a midwife. You can have your OB, but you should have a midwife. The care I got is, you will not get it with the traditional system we have set up. Yeah. I had someone in my home who knew me, who saw when something was wrong, who picked up on my energy, and we were on top of things before they became an issue. And that I will be forever grateful. It was the best thing I ever did for myself, for my husband, for my baby. And I can't wait to do that again. Every woman needs a midwife. I think our world would be different, better.
Amen.
And for birth, I was going to say you have to go inward. I mean, really, tapping into myself, trusting, I trust my baby, I trust my body, I trust the universe, really just saved me, because you have no control. You can do everything right, and your body might have another plan.
Right.
And your baby has a plan. She's very clear message. Here's some meconium. We got to go to a hospital.
Yep.
Marco said something in the car as we were driving, because I was crying. I was just weepy, and a lot was going on. And he said, maybe this is Ren's way of getting you to the hospital.
For sure.
And that made me feel a lot better.
For sure. Babies communicate.
Yeah.
Babies communicate, and you listened.
So have the plan. I planned. I planned for everything. And I had a really full circle moment. I had made bone broth to sip postpartum. I had an altar set up across from my bed. And we came home from the hospital. I took a shower. I hopped in bed, and I had my bone broth. And I was looking at my altar, and I said, I got to do all the things I wanted, just in a different order. And it was great.
You're incredible.
Things have been great since.
Thank you for being my guest. I just love your story. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Much love.
Thanks for listening to the Mama Tusa podcast on the Industry Plant Podcast Network. Mama Tusa is hosted by me, Atusa Benji, and produced by Josh Stretton Carlson. Our theme music is composed by Mary Lalazarian. If you enjoyed the podcast, please consider leaving us a review and subscribing. See you next Tuesday.